It's been a long time since I tested my last Sigma lens, but when I was standing in a photo store in Frankfurt and a customer next to me tried out the 65mm, I was extremely curious to see which lens he had. I knew neither the 50mm nor the 65mm f2.0 exist. That's why I had to borrow the 50mm f2 DG DN for my Sony E-mount straight away. In this test we will find out for what I use such a lens for and if it's worth spending 700 bucks for it. You are on the Daniel Life, make sure to subscribe and give this video a like so you don't miss any upcoming lens and camera tests. You're also welcome to buy the lens, camera, memory card and the accessories I used, such as the monitor to record this video, in a link provided in the video description below. This way you support my channel, we say thank you. A big advantage of the 50mm f2 DG DN is its small size. You would expect it to weigh less than 345 grams due to its size. But for me, this is a huge plus point. Thanks to the sturdy workmanship, you immediately get an impression that you have a very high quality lens on your lightweight Sony body. It looks ultra Leica-like and anything but cheap. 11 elements in 9 groups with 9 aperture blades. The lens hood is included and also made of metal. Sigma will make the lens available in April 25 for Sony E-mount as well as the L-mount. At the front is a large focus ring which you have to turn once to maneuver through the entire focus range. Just below is the aperture ring with its smallest aperture of 22. The aperture can be adjusted in steps. A switch for the manual and autofocus is located on the side. There is no programmable button for anything. Don't want to promise you too much in terms of handling. I picked up the lens and I was immediately in love with it. Superb workmanship, very compact, even more compact than my Sony 50mm 1.4. Due to the compact form factor, you now need a 58mm filter, but as an always-on lens for portraits, the city and lifestyle, it's an absolutely beautiful fixed focal length. Although I only borrowed this lens for 2 days, I have already thought about selling my Sony 50mm 1.4, however I haven't made up my mind yet. The Sigma copes quite well with flaring. We were out in Frankfurt at the end of March in 25 and took these shots from all angles using the lens hood, but see for yourself. A big advantage of a 50mm is its low amount of distortion. This is particularly noticeable on the edges and lines. In terms of sharpness, it is in no way inferior to the Sony 50mm 1.4. An absolutely sharp lens from the center to the edge. You should decide beforehand what is important to you. Sharp and blurred background, day or night, adjust the ISO and then the correct shutter speed. Then you will get also sharp photos provided the focus point is in the right place. The closest focusing distance is 45 centimeters. This means you can get really close to everything you want to have in focus and can isolate the fore from the background. Very nice for fashion, details, products due to the non-existent distortion and nature. When traveling, I always have at least one fixed focal length with me. Fixed focal lengths are usually extremely sharp, fast and much more compact than zoom lenses. So if you're going on vacation, whether for a city trip, the Maldives and the like, you should at least think about having a compact lens like this with you. Not only because you can take beautiful portraits, but also because you can capture details of all kinds. A great lens for content creators, because you can use it to present your outfits on travels, for example, and make the background disappear almost completely thanks to the 2.0 aperture. As a fast fixed focal length, it doesn't stand out in your camera bag, therefore a great lens for street, travel and vacations. Where do you see such a lens being used continuously? For portraits of course. Whether in a studio, outdoors or at events such as festivals or nightclubs, compact, stable and a super nice transition from sharpness to blur. But see for yourself. Where I did have the odd conflict was the autofocus. Although I don't have a Sony A1 here, I do have a very good A7C Mark II with AI autofocus. This camera is simply amazing, compact, 35mm sensor and even better tracking than with the A7 IV. However, there were a few blurred photos, especially with movements at close range. We did go to the maximum, in other words, a lot of movement, not only in the foreground but also in the background. The AFC was switched on, but every now and then I saw the odd misfocus in Adobe Lightroom. I had less or none of that with my Sony 50mm 1.4 for example. I personally had much better experience in video mode than with the maximum continuous shooting function. As you've just seen, the foreground blends beautifully into the background, so great. So do I see the difference between 1.4 and f2? Sure, with the ISO, but I couldn't tell you. For portrait outdoors, yes, that's an aperture of 1.4 or aperture 2.0. Here's another example for you between f2 and 2.8 if you're interested. Let's move on to the last topic, video. If you want to have a lens with you for the city on vacation because you want to record the hustle and bustle of your city, are out and about in nature or taking photos of fashion or even filming, this is a wonderful lens. The following shots were all taken in S-Log with my Sony A7C Mark II. As with most 50mm lenses, you don't have an optical image stabilizer, but of course still get beautiful videos. As I said at the beginning, I'm currently considering selling my 50mm 1.4, switching to this even more compact Sigma 50mm f2. This will save me even more weight and space, but I would be sacrificing light intensity. I still have to find out whether it's worth for me. Personally, I've fallen in love with this compact 50mm. If I had to choose between buying a 50mm 1.8 or this one, I would definitely save a little longer. The handling alone, with the aperture ring and the assumed weight of 345 grams, speaks for itself. Not such a cheap part, don't get me wrong, the 50mm 1.8 is a super cost efficient alternative. But if you take your camera out of the cupboard once a year to take a family photo, it's not worth buying a Sigma 50mm for 700 bucks. However, if you're looking for a cool lens for festivals, street or portraits, which you might use every day, then it's better to spend a little more. Feel free to write me your opinion about the 50mm under this video. If you'd like this video, you can find the lens, the monitor, the memory card and the camera as a supporter link in the video description below. Thank you very much, all the best from Frankfurt and see you very soon.